Who says women aren't funny?
You want to be a grown-ass woman, stop dating skaters. Stop dating skaters unless you want to wake up on a mattress in a kitchen.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 greatest female stand-up comedians. For this list, we're looking at female stand-up comics who are the pinnacles of their profession. These comediennes were ranked strictly based on their stand-up careers, so success in other ventures like movies or sitcoms is irrelevant.
God, that's so immature.
Also, they must be pure stand-ups. Women who had sketch or one-woman show acts like Lily Tomlin or Whoopi Goldberg are not included.
I said, take that tired piece of meat down to the ASPCA and let him put it to sleep.
Number 10, Amy Schumer.
And don't worry, I'm drunk too right now, honestly, I am. You're in a blackout, let's be real.
She's among the most famous female stand-ups in the world today, and a defining voice of this generation of comics. Building on a career based on self-deprecation, Schumer has risen to the top of show business by cultivating a filthy, hypersexual act.
I'm 30. I heard when you're a girl and you're 30, you're just like, I need a baby, but I just don't want to make anything with my body. But
Feminists the world over have embraced Schumer for her painfully true observations about the human animal, which have turned her into a cultural figurehead.
But I've just never cared about stuff like that. You know, looks, who cares, right? And he's so rich that doesn't really come up.
However, whether this was Amy's intention is a whole other question. Before she was in the spotlight, Schumer was a respected grinder in the comedy scene, a hard-hitting joke machine who lived for laughs.
I finally just slept with my high school crush. Right? Thank you. But now he expects me to go to his graduation.
The work has definitely paid off, and paid out. Number 9, Janeane Garofalo.
I've got some good news if you're interested. They've just opened a Starbucks in my living room, so...
Stand-up comedy was a paint-by-numbers art form, until Janeane came along and Jackson Pollocked all over the canvas. Debuting in the late 80s, she quickly gained notice for her unique style, which ended up inspiring a movement called alternative comedy.
And when's the last time anybody went into a diner and said, I had a grapefruit this morning the size of a cyst that rocked my world?
Janeane's act removed all preconceptions from stand-up. You know, like those pesky setups and punchlines, and extracted humor in unexplored ways. Garofalo displayed her stream of consciousness act in various clubs, and later major TV shows, ultimately becoming a fan-appointed leader for a new breed of comedians.
Hey, what's the deal with decaf? How do they get the caffeine out of there? And then where does it go?
By the mid-90s, her socio-political repartee gave her icon status in areas outside of stand-up, especially feminism and liberalism.
You know, there's been times when I have actually had sex indoors, and it's weird because then you kind of sober up just a little when it's over, you know? And I become like a bartender at 2 a.m. It's like, okay, people, let's move it out!
The undisputed queen of alt comedy still performs frequently, smart and biting as ever.
Hey, so what's the deal with brunch? I mean, if it's a combination of breakfast and lunch, how come there's no lupper? Or no linner?
Number 8, Sarah Silverman.
If I based my material on stereotypes, that would be messed up. It would. But I don't. Okay? I base it on facts.
Sarah Silverman has made controversy her bitch. That monster has destroyed many careers, but Silverman tamed it and rode it headlong into fame. Since her humble beginnings in stand-up as a sweet-looking 19-year-old in a business of hardened old men, Silverman had to trounce stereotypes to gain respect, and boy, did she ever.
He'd roll up all the windows and lock them and fart in the car with the heat up.
Cultivating one of the most offensive acts a female comedian has ever had, no topic was off limits for the young Silverman, and she would tackle those subjects with an irony that was lost on the critics that wanted her head.
I was annoyed as a kid because around Christmas time, a lot of the kids would blame me for my people killing Jesus. And I thought it was hilarious too.
The combination of her bad girl infamy and doe-eyed innocence made Silverman the biggest female stand-up of the 2000s.
I mean, is it really crazy? Everybody always says it's so crazy to be here hosting Saturday Night Live. I'm a pretty big comedian. Kind of makes all the sense in the world.
Number 7, Paula Poundstone.
Can't help but notice that you guys have no spitting signs. everyone. I don't know if I just have a big defiant streak in me or what, but I never even thought about spit until they brought it up.
Paula Poundstone did things her own way, which made her rise to fame inspiring for young comics everywhere. Poundstone was a suspender-wearing asexual comedian who ascended the rungs of show business with the weight of nonconformity hanging from her ankle. But she ground her way to the top.
I do have that feeling now as if perhaps I've told you too much.
With her sharp and insightful act, Poundstone was a cornerstone of 80s comedy and helped legitimize political stand-up for women.
Jeez, I thought stand-up was competitive.
She was a fixture on Letterman, had her own HBO special, and became nationally known as a political correspondent for The Jay Leno Show. Pandering to nobody, Poundstone was a trendsetter and a mold breaker who achieved success on her own terms.
I would not give birth to a baby, I don't think, for a couple of reasons. For one thing, because, well, there's sex involved, and I want nothing to do with that, to be totally honest with you. But,
Number 6, Maria Bamford.
I used to work in an office, and I miss the excitement. Miss the excitement waking up every day. I didn't know if I was going to go in and file something or type something or like file something I just typed.
Bamford is arguably the most experimental, surreal, and admired female stand-up in the business. And it's easy to see why. Much of her humor stems from personal difficulties. Bamford digs through the misery of ordinarily painful things to expose the fleshy root of hilarity buried deep within our anxieties.
Nothing's been consummated, but we've been doing some furious hand-holding, and our palms are raw with desire.
For over 25 years, Bamford has pushed the limits of her act, culminating in remarkably funny and original concepts like an entire stand-up special filmed with her parents as the audience, and a surrealist comedy performance done from her living room couch, with her dogs providing the soundtrack.
So, I can't listen to love songs anymore. They'll set too high expectations.
Love songs, what's your name, where you come from?
The mainstream has just caught up with her recently, but she won't be stepping out of the spotlight anytime soon.
Too yellow. More blue? Less blue. Split the difference.
Number 5, Wanda Sykes.
I was trying to hold out, because Fox canceled me too, so I was like, Fox, I ain't watching American Idol.
Wanda Sykes is a veteran stand-up, whose comic moniker is in no way hyperbolic. Originally an agent for the NSA, Sykes began stand-up in 1987 after becoming disillusioned with her rigid job. She worked her way through the DC and New York clubs, fashioning a bold original act that turned heads in the comedy scene.
People are like, well, how are you planning for your retirement? Powerball.
Sykes would perform on Conan, HBO, and Comedy Central, and write for The Chris Rock Show, which led to the hilarious character acting that many know her for.
You went to that son of a bitch's house. Do you know he's cheating on me?
Through all her success, she hasn't wavered from stand-up, and she remains one of the best in the biz.
There's some things that I had to do as gay that I didn't have to do as black. I didn't have to come out black.
Number 4, Ellen DeGeneres.
It's amazing what comes up when you sit in that silence. Mama keeps whites bright like the sunlight. Mama's got the magic of Clorox too.
Before she was Ellen the TV character, Ellen the talk show host, or Dory in Finding Nemo, DeGeneres was one of the finest observational comedians the world had ever known. Starting in the late 70s, Ellen honed her craft as a small-time club comic before she made one seminal appearance on Carson. She had her first appearance on The Tonight Show on November 28, 1986.
A lot of people ask me, were you funny as a child? And no, I was an accountant. But,
History and her career was made when Johnny called her to the couch after her set, making Ellen the first female comic to receive that honor.
But that's very good stuff.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I wish you would. Will you come back with us soon?
I would love to.
Okay, you got an open invitation.
She may be known for other outlets today, but it's in the world of stand-up where Ellen first made her mark and arguably created her best work.
Then you just start clawing at it like a wild animal. Jesus, I just want toilet paper.
God.
Number 3, Roseanne Barr.
I'm like a miracle of modern science with this shit, ladies and gentlemen.
When you're recognized by a single name, you know you've made it big. Housewife turned comedy superstar Roseanne achieved just that, and her success in the 80s and 90s was unparalleled. Already a mother of 4 kids when she started performing comedy, Roseanne's couldn't care less attitude cut through the BS of motherhood to provide show business with a new brand of comedy. Soon after, the Roseanne sitcom was born, rivaling only Seinfeld in terms of cultural impact.
We're going to embarrass your sister in an orderly fashion.
Possessing comedy's most commanding female voice, Roseanne was the highest-ranked woman on Comedy Central's list of the 100 greatest stand-ups of all time, and the only woman to appear in the top 10. Can't argue with that.
I hate that word, housewife. I prefer to be called domestic goddess.
Number 2, Phyllis Diller.
I'm Phyllis.
I'm Ralph.
I'll have a triple cream soda on the rocks.
How big of a deal was Phyllis Diller? Well, she's considered the first mainstream female stand-up, the first female comedian to become a household name, and the first female comic to incorporate real-life experiences into her act.
So I decided I should be analyzed, and I went to this analyst. He's helped me a great deal. In fact, I am so much better now that I get to sit up.
Entering the scene as a 37-year-old in 1955, Diller's eccentric persona, off-the-wall delivery, and refreshing sincerity made her a fan favorite, and her rise to stardom took only a few years. By 1965, she was the most famous comedienne in America.
My husband, the idiot Fang, he was exhausted today, wrote 3 letters. A, B, and C.
Diller was also a pioneer in the art of self-deprecating humor, and continued performing stand-up until she was 85.
My face has been pulled up more times than Bill Clinton's pants.
Phyllis Diller may be gone, but her legacy and influence lives on in every female comedian she's inspired. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
I've been called everything, I don't care. I've been called a Jew because of the nose. I've been called a dyke because of that one time in college.
In my Korean name, it's the name of Kim Jong-il's production company. So that's how Asian that is. I have a friend who's even more Asian. Her name is
No moleste. Not tonight.
Or how about people who have like one baby and go buy like a minivan? How big is your fat pig baby?
As you know, the Palin family, not big Kathy Griffin fans. And they think I'm like after their family, but I really don't give a shit about them. It's just that they're so f***ing funny.
Anytime you see me with my arms around an old man, I'm holding him for the police.
Number 1, Joan Rivers.
165 pounds. So I gotta show it to you, otherwise it doesn't go off my income tax. Anyhow, hello.
Joan Rivers is considered the funniest woman to have ever lived, which is really all that needs to be said.
I hate thin people. Let's just start with that. Thank God the front row, chubettes. I'm very happy. You look...
As the original Queen of Mean, Rivers liberated female comedy from the trenches of banality and wholesomeness and became the czar of feminist humor. Starting stand-up in the 1950s and gradually elevating her act to the coterie of offensiveness we've come to love, Joan's provocative style was unlike anything that came before her, and though people tried, anything that came after her.
All I ever heard growing up is, why can't you be like your cousin Sheila? Why can't you be like your cousin Sheila? Sheila had died at birth. They just...
She had biting wit, killer one-liners, a fearless personality, and a no-holds-barred attitude about any topic.
I went out with a man a week and a half ago, and it was in the New York papers, and while we were having dinner, he died. Honest to God, died! Do you understand what I'm telling you, Canada? He died! Oh, and I had to go in his pocket to get the American Express card. It was...
And perhaps even more importantly, in spite of all the offensive things she said or did throughout her controversial career, Joan was still widely beloved. Do you agree with our list? Who's your favorite female stand-up?
I love my phone. I lost my daughter in Walmart once. I did not have the same anxiety.
For more acerbic Top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to MsMojo.
Leave here and remember this. Procrastinate now. Don't put it off.